all our distinguished panelists amongst us.
Yeah. Good evening, ma'am. Very good
Good
evening.
evening, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, I request all the participants, you can keep posting your question and answers in the chat window while the session is going on. I'll maintain a record of all your questions and I will be putting them to the speaker at the end of the session. But while the session is going on, I'll request all the participants, kindly don't unmute your mic and kindly don't disturb the flow by asking questions. Questions we'll put to the speaker, the expert speaker, by towards the end of the session. Meanwhile, while the session is going on, you can all keep posting your questions. We'll be taking note of all those questions and we'll be putting them to the speaker by the end of, towards the end of the session. A very good evening and a warm welcome to all participants who have joined us for this webinar on cyber warfare, cyber security, and cyber citizenship. We'll be starting sharp at 6 p.m. This is the time for tea and networking, so you all can enjoy your tea at your places and you can keep posting your affiliations, etc. in the chat window. A very good evening to all the participants and all my distinguished panelists. I welcome you all to this webinar. I would again inform all the participants that if you join through the YouTube link, you will not be receiving any feedback link towards the end of the session. Only the participants who will be joining through the Webex link that has been shared would be getting the feedback link towards the end of the session. Once you successfully submit the feedback link, you will be getting your certificate of participation at the mail ID that you have shared in the feedback link. So at the moment the room is opened, it is not locked. So I would request all the participants to kindly join through the Webex link and avoid the YouTube link. The YouTube link is only an alternative in case the number of participants exceed 1000 and the Webex room gets locked. In that case, you can use the YouTube link, but that is only a knowledge dissemination platform. And no feedback link will be given through that. Uh, all my participants, I'd like to inform you the webinar time is from 6 p.m. We'll be starting sharp at 6 p.m. We have opened the room earlier so that all of you can join in easily. You can check your connections. In case there are any problems, you can log out and you can re-log in. So sharp at 6 p.m. we shall be starting with the session. At the moment, this is login and networking, your tea and networking time. So you can keep enjoying tea at your places and you can even keep posting your affiliations and your details. We'll be starting the session sharp at 6. I hope all the participants can view our screen and can hear us. In case there are any problems with the audio or video, I request you to kindly log out and re-log in through your connection. The room is still open, so you can easily log out and you can re-log in. It won't be a problem. Once the room is logged, you will not be able to log in. No, sir and ma'am, you don't need to provide any details at the beginning. Session, your a feedback link will be shared with all the participants who are with us through the WebEx link. That means who are with us in the WebEx room. Feedback link would be shared with all those participants. In that feedback link, you will have to share your email ID on which you will be receiving the certificate of participation. Preferably, there is a request, kindly use a Gmail ID, or let's say your organization email ID. Don't use a Yahoo mail ID, because in that case you won't be receiving the certificate of participation. So in that case, you have to fill the form and you have to pull in your details over there. In that particular form, I request all the participants kindly fill in your details without any mistakes, because any mistakes that you make while filling that form in your name or your organization or your email address, that will directly reflect in the certificate that is generated for you. And once you have generated your certificate with one particular email ID, the automated system won't allow you to regenerate another certificate for yourself. So kindly fill that form carefully. Don't make mistakes while filling that form. I welcome all my participants who are joining us. We shall be starting the session sharp at 6. Till then, it is tea and networking time. I was just informing about the feedback form which will be shared towards the end of the session. Once you successfully fill and submit that feedback form, you will be receiving your certificate of participation at your registered email ID that you have shared in that particular feedback form. I hope I'm clear to all the participants. Another request, while the session is going on, while the expert speaker is sharing their ideas, I would request all the participants to kindly stay on mute and keep posting your question and answers in the chat window. We shall be taking a record of all the in the chat window, and we shall be asking them with our expert speaker, but towards the end of the session. So in between the session, kindly don't try to ask any questions. We shall be asking all questions. I shall be asking all questions that are posted by you people towards the end of the session to with our expert. I again welcome all our distinguished panelists and all our participants to this webinar on cyber warfare, cyber security, and cyber citizenship. We shall be starting sharp at 6 p.m. Few more minutes left. Till then, you can enjoy tea at your home and keep sharing your details in the chat window. You can keep interacting with us through the chat window. I can see participants from all nooks and corner of the country have joined us. So I think this is a wonderful platform where all of us can interact together in a safe mechanism. Well, during the session, if any participant wants to log out and rejoin, I don't think that will be possible because in that case, the room would be locked. It's been logged, you will not be able to rejoin again. A very good evening to all my participants and my distinguished panelists. I welcome you all to this webinar on cyber warfare, cyber security, and cyber citizenship. We'll be starting sharp at 6 p.m. Till then, we still have few minutes. So all of you can keep enjoying your tea at your and you can keep sharing your details in the chat window. You can keep interacting with us in the chat window. I welcome all the participants from across the country, from all states of the country. It's a wonderful platform to have all of you over here. And I also thank all the participants who have been continuously joining us for all our webinars. I hope they have been great learning experience for you. And I hope today's webinar will also be wonderful for each one of you. It will be very knowledgeable. In case you don't desire the participation certificate, yes, you may not fill the feedback is given towards the link that will be shared towards the end of the session. Yes, your feedback will always be important to us. So in that case, again, I would request you to kindly keep sharing your feedback even in the chat window. All participants who are here for the first time and are be here. Welcome to all of you. I hope you will enjoy today's session. And after this, you will be a regular participant for all our sessions that we have been keeping. I hope you will also participate by giving us ideas and suggestions for other sessions that can be hosted in the future. The expert for today's session is Dr. Anoop Girdhar, CEO, Said Utility Solutions. He is an expert, a cyber security expert since a long time. So he would be sharing his expert views on this particular topic today with us: cyber warfare, cyber security, and cyber citizenship. And I think in the time of this pandemic, when all of us have suddenly shifted to the digital life, this topic has become of much more importance as compared to what it was just a few days back. At the moment, the room is open, so I would YouTube. After that, if any participant, if any of your own participants, they wish to join, they may join through the YouTube. At the moment, I'll request all the participants. Room is still open. You can keep joining through the WebEx links. Professor Evan Huda, Director, Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management, sir, is here with us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Dr. Ritika.
Good evening.
Yeah. Uttam. Uttam, can
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dr. Anup is there in attendee list.
Yes, sir. I have talked to him. Actually, sir, I'm not able to make him panelist, so I'm just giving the link again.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So ask him to disconnect and join with panelist link.
Yes, sir. I am asking.
Dr. Anup, please disconnect, log out, and join with another panelist link. Good evening to all of you. The timing of the program is 6 p.m. We will start at 6 p.m. sharp. Meanwhile, you can keep on writing your affiliation, your details in the chat window, and take tea at home. This is a tea time at home. Okay. Good evening to all of you. The timing of the program is 6 p.m. Listen.
A very good evening. We'll be starting within a few minutes. Have joined and have checked your connections.
Bhatia Saab, good evening. Good evening, Bhatia Saab.
गुड इवनिंग मैंने अनम्यूट करके आप जवाब दूं बेटा।
हमें अनम्यूट करके जवाब देना पड़ता है, ये तो नए
हाँ,
प्रोटोकॉल से
पहले
छूट
हाथ हिला सकते हैं पर हाथ जब नीचे जा रहा है तो कुछ कर रहे हैं।
और फिर बात
मैं
खत्म होने के बाद
वो
आपको म्यूट रखना पड़ता है।
वो टी एट होम वाला थोड़ा टी लेट हो रही है तो वो मैं भूल के आया हूँ नीचे।
करेक्ट।
और बोलिए कैसे हैं?
सब बहुत बढ़िया। और बात खत्म हो जाने के बाद फिर अपने को म्यूट भी रखना पड़ता है, ये सब नए नए प्रोटोकॉल्स हैं। सुब्रता
हाँ, क्या करना पड़ता
सर, गुड इवनिंग।
Good evening to everybody. I had to also unmute to talk to you and others.
So this is the new protocol that unmute when we want to talk and then mute when we do not want to talk. It's as good as mobile or telephones. When you want to talk to someone, lift up phone, and when you want to close that, put down
नहीं,
the
अभी ऐसा ना ओडा साहब अभी टाइम ऐसा आ गया है कि बोलो कम काम ज्यादा करो, इसलिए पहले बंद करके रखना पड़ेगा सब कुछ। जरूरत तो
अच्छी बात है सर,
सब करो।
है कि नहीं है? बहुत हो गया बोलना।
So good evening, participants. Our time is 6 p.m. We'll start at 6. उत्तम, तुम्हारे पास नंबर है डॉक्टर अनूप का, वो उनको बताना है कि पैनलिस्ट के लिंक से ज्वाइन करें.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am talking to him, sir.
चाहो तो उनको व्हाट्सएप पे भी लिंक भेज दो.
जी सर.
Good evening, Vyas sir.
गुड इवनिंग. आप अभी भी दिक्कत है?
हाँ. नहीं, मैंने कहा आप नहीं दिखाई दे रहे तो हाँ चल. श्योर. चल. नहीं नहीं मेरे को बता. अच्छा ठीक है. थैंक यू वेरी मच. हाँ बस मैं एक इवेंट को ज्वाइन कर रहा हूँ.
All participants' feedback link will be shared towards the end of the session. We shall soon be starting the session. Our expert speaker is joining us. He is with us. He's just trying to join us. So soon we'll be starting with the session. A very good evening to all participants. I welcome on cyber warfare, cyber security, and cyber citizenship. Our expert speaker is about to join us. So we'll be starting the session in a few minutes.
तो वो अटेंडी मिल गया. पैनलिस्ट के केस में कोई भी
I also welcome all our distinguished panelists who are there on the board with us. Thank you so much for sparing time out of your busy schedule and joining us.
उत्तम, प्रॉब्लम समझ में आ रही?
सर मैं उनसे कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. उनका शायद फोन बिजी जा रहा है सर का.
वो मैं बात कर रहा था. अभी तुम बात करो उनसे. जब तक मीनवाइल शैल वी स्टार्ट द प्रोग्राम.
यस सर.
हम लोग प्रोग्राम शुरू करते हैं. तुम उनकी प्रॉब्लम रिजॉल्व करके कनेक्ट करो जब तक.
जी सर, जी सर.
Okay. Dr. Ritika, let's start the program. Do not waste time.
Okay, sir. Uh, I welcome all my participants. A very good evening to all distinguished panelists and participants. Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management BVI CAM in association with Computer Consultants Network Affinity CNA Group of IEEE Delhi Section, Life Member Affinity LMA Group of IEEE Delhi Section, Inter-Society Relations IRS Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi Section, Industry Relations and Site Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi Section, with the associations CSI, SAFA Society, IST Delhi Section, and IET Delhi Center welcomes you all to this webinar on cyber warfare, cyber security, and cyber citizenship. Stephen Nepo, Global Head Information System Security, Society Journal, stated the value models are anticipation, education, detection, reaction, and resilience. Remember, cybersecurity is much more than an IT topic. His statement has much relevance in our present times when we are living in a digital age and are thriving to use more and more of internet. The pandemic, though has given us important lessons for life, has also increased our dependence on the internet for sustenance. Hence, privacy breach, impersonation, cyber frauds, and many such cyber crimes have become common practice today, with all of us susceptible to them through our digital identities. This webinar today aims at uncovering the issues in protecting computers, servers, mobile devices, electronic systems, networks, and data from malicious attacks, and how to become a good cyber citizen through real time case studies and mitigation policies. I would first take this opportunity to welcome amongst us our distinguished panelists for the day. We are privileged to have amongst us a galaxy of experts. I'll first welcome Professor Subrata Mukhopadhyay, Chairperson, Consultants Network Affinity Group, and former Chairperson of IEEE Delhi Section. I also welcome Sri R.K. Vyas, President, Computer Society of India, Dr. Ajay Thakare, Chairman, Technical Program and Publicity Committee, Professor Subramaniam Krishnamurthy, Professor Harjinder Singh Bhatia. I would now request Professor Subrata Mukhopadhyay to commence this session with his welcome address. Over to you, Subrata sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sritika Vasan, for the introduction to the today's topic itself. We are from IEEE Delhi section, joined with this activity, continuing since June. Definitely, it is a contemporary topic of interest. And today only, when I was seeing some news, really it is something very astonishing, not to some that extent, but I was fearing actually because everybody is thinking in that term. A lot of coming up on the cyber security actually. Warfare is also there, definitely, but it should be with some ethical things. Today we see even our national prestigious National Informatics Center system has been under attack. Earlier, we got the information PF Care Fund, and similarly, a lot of monetary institutions are suffering from this thing. So this is an important issue. Even the issues coming up that not sufficient, like McAfee, Norton, or Kaspersky, whatever the antivirus are, they are not sufficient to deal with. Probably in a positive sense, we have to think how to secure our all apparatus, computer, desktop, whether laptop or our tablet or mobile, everything we have to see it and taking it into problem. And the funniest thing I got quote that even the cyber hackers, just like the people working home, they working from home itself. I'm sure it is not a change. Earlier also they were working from home only. I don't think they have got an organized office. Only those who have got organized office, they were in the office. Now they are in the home. That's why they could find that the other fellows are also sitting at the home itself. They are managing the issues and getting it transferred online from some account to siphon it to some other place. So we have to be very cautious, and those who are definitely expert and building up the proper coding and all these things to take protection of all the citizens or netizens, whatever we may talk. Over to Dr. Ritika for further continuation.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful welcome address and the actual example. This example has actually laid down the foundation, making this topic even of more importance. I would now request Shri R.K. Vyas, President Computer Society of India, CSI, to motivate us with his words. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here on this webinar of cyber security, cyber war, and cyber citizenship. I think this is a very hot topic which we are discussing in today's webinar. I must thank Professor Huda and his team for arranging such a hot topic. And it has become more hot after we saw the evening news twice in a day when Professor Mukhopadhyay has already said that NIC servers are being hacked today. So this, when our own government servers, which are supposed to be very secure enough, are being tried to be manipulated, then these things or these type of topics are become very virtual. And as we see in current scenario from last 4 or 5 months, when all of us are connected in some of the other way through online learning, teaching, webinar processes, and most of the works in the organizations, whether it is a software development, whether it is a financial work, income tax, GST, everything is going on online. And more and more, today when I went to bank in the morning, he says, no, no, sir, why you are coming for just putting up a passbook and doing all this? You just get your printout at your home only. We don't entertain these things. So many of the things has really changed the shape in last couple of months. And due to these reasons, basically, the hackers or the knowledgeable person, they are more knowledgeable than the person who are developing these things, those people have become more active. They want to see how they can make the best out of it for themselves and worst for others, and they're trying to do all sorts of things, maybe say to steal some security information from government house, trying to secure some financial from various 2 days before also we have seen some of the organization like Paytm, Alibaba and many more, they are instigating and hacking some of the economical information at various platforms. And these some of the Chinese platforms are really being taken care of. And we have already seen why government has banned many of the Chinese apps. It was because of this easy reason. In past 4 or 5 months, they have been doing various things, and we have been how to when we see. I hope Mr. Anup Girdhar has joined us, and I'll see that Mr. Anup Girdhar, with his own experience in this area, recently we heard him in one of the platform at IET, also in our midterm symposium. Bhatia ji was also there. Bhatia ji, namaskar. So we have heard there, and he has given a very good topic, very good talk on that time also. And I think Professor Huda has chosen a well-known person for this kind of activity, where we have thinking how to come out of it, why it occurred, and who are. I'm really confused with the word of cyber citizens, and I think Anup will tell us now who has become the cyber citizen. Those persons who are hacking the information, or those persons who are attacked by the hackers, and who are the citizens actually. Basically, when I see as a general citizen, citizens are always losers. गवर्नमेंट का कोई भी फॉर्म आएगा, कोई भी क्या कहते हैं लॉ आएगा, इट इज बेस्ड फॉर द क्या कहते हैं हिटिंग बिलो द बेल्ट फॉर द सिटीजन, इनकम टैक्स लॉ चाहे जीएसटी लॉ एनीथिंग. सो आई डोंट नो when he says about cyber citizen, how will you describe this cyber citizenship? But obviously Mr. Anup Gurdar, who is a very experienced person in this field, and he has been I have been attending his seminar cyber security, one of his concerns, and we will be talking a lot about this. With these words, I will say, with the association of all the professional societies like Computer Society of India, IEEE, IET, we all are always sharing the platforms for last 3-4 months, and Really, this becomes a very powerful knowledge sharing platform for all the faculty members, students, and professionals all over the country. And as we say, in this, at least every Friday, I think more than 500 people are joining these type of webinars conducted by Bharati Vidyapeeth with Association of the Professional Societies. With these words, I thank to the management for conducting these activities. Over to Ritika for further action. Thank you, Ritika.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I now request Professor M.N. Hoda, Director, Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management. BVI can address the participants with his inspiration. To you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Uttam, are you hearing me?
Sir, Anup Girdhar has joined us.
Yes, sir. Not Sir Anup sir is now
Great,
my
great,
panelist.
great. I was little worried that what is happening. Dr. Anup, am I audible to you? Please unmute and confirm. Am I audible to you?
Just give me a minute, sir. Yeah, now am I audible, sir?
Oh, great, Dr. Anup. You are audible to me, and you can just check your sharing of your screen. Then I will speak.
Sure, sir. Just
Let
give me
me
a minute.
first cross test everything is working fine. Because it's the last moment exigency.
Okay.
Just share your screen once.
Anup's system has been attacked by somebody, I think.
No, Dr. Anup's system cannot be attacked.
Actually, it is so secure that it is not connecting
सुना के
directly.
आए लोगों को मैं आज सुना दूंगा. अनूप सिस्टम अटैक नहीं हो सकता. मैं इनको 20 साल से जानता हूँ.
Maybe I know that, but still he was doing the thing, so I thought by something new happened, you know.
No, sir, it is over secured, so that's what like we need to release the security level to just to connect and to get into your network.
शेयर करें, स्क्रीन शेयर करें डॉक्टर अनूप.
Yes, sir. Just give me a minute.
This is Cisco.
Yes, sir.
This is your desktop.
Yes, sir.
Right,
So
sir.
from here you can make on your PPT on. Correct.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
I have not spoken. I will speak. Welcome them, and then you can. Right.
Sure, sir. Sure.
So good evening to one and all. Let me at the first and at the outset take this opportunity to welcome the valued speaker for today, my friend Dr. Anup Girdhar, the CEO of Sidulity Solutions. I am not only the CEO of the Sidulity Solutions, but a real person who will give you an exact idea how cyber warfare, cyber security related issues are dealt at this moment, not only in a public domain, but also in a confidential domain with respect to different intelligence agencies who are so much of in worry at this particular moment. And then a few tips that how we all at this hour of crisis can become a more responsible cyber citizen. So most welcome Dr. Anup in this webinar.
Pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.
I take this opportunity to welcome all the friends from all the professional societies. Name Dr. Ritika has already elaborated because of paucity of the time. I will not take name. So welcome you all from different premier professional societies of the country who are regularly participating in this program as a sponsoring professional society for this webinar right from 6th of June till this webinar. This is our 17th webinar which we are at this moment releasing. My dear friends, why webinars? The only answer to me at this moment, without going into any detail, that how to ensure to continue learning despite disruption. This is a process of continuing learning without despite disruptions which has disrupted everything in and around us. This we have been talking since last 10 years about disruptive applications, disruptive solutions, disruptive softwares, and this COVID-19, the nature's disruption has come in a biggest possible manner and has disrupted everything in and around us across the globe. So during this disruption, how to ensure that our learning process must continue That is a fundamental objective of having this webinar. Today's topic is so innovative, so dear to me, and so much of needed in today's time. Professor Subrata and Professor Vyas has already sensitized you the latest happening which has happened just today, that the government of India websites are under attack. So it is now, if you see last 1 month reports of different agencies, you will come to know that the moment we have shifted our businesses, our interactions, our communications online, and the kind of the speed and the kind of the increase which has happened in this online medium, with the same speed, the hackers, with the same speed, the intruders have also increased. They have become more proactive, and they are trying to cheat us. They are trying to create problem for all of us. So at this moment of time, it is very much needed to ensure that how we all should become a responsible cyber citizen. We are talking of a responsible citizen in general. Now under a cyber wall, we should talk about responsible cyber citizen. Why? Because today we live in a pure digital age of Industrial Revolution 4.0. And when I'm talking of Industrial Revolution 4.0, the IoT devices, the smart devices, the fast internet speed, social networking sites, the e-governance portals of the government, and everything in and around us becoming online. These online transactions are fascinating to us in a biggest possible manner. And not only fascinating to us, rather is very efficient also. But at the time we are going to use them, we have to be careful, because cyber crime is at peak. Cyber warfare is also added in this topic, and cyber warfare is that phenomena which will turn every weapon which we have in and around us. We have mobile phone, we have desktop, we have laptop, we have other smart devices. So all these smart devices, which practically and physically we own and we use in a cyber world, may be turned into a kind of battlefield. And then that battlefield, which will be happening in a virtual world, its impact may be realized in this real possible world. That's the kind of impact of the cyber world, cyber warfare, which is going to happen. So, my dear friend, the common risks faced by the society are privacy breach, we have seen just now, impersonation, cyber warfare, cyber security issues, and other contingencies. The most effective protection against cyber warfare and other kind of attacks, whether it's an active attack or it's a passive attack, it is done by intruder, or it is done by hacker, or it is done by cracker, whosoever is basically can be stopped, or can be, if not 100% stopped, can be minimized to a great extent if we all are cyber aware citizens. And when I'm talking of cyber aware citizen, we must understand the etiquettes of using the cyber devices. If you remember, people of my age will concur with me that we used to write diaries maybe 30 years ago when we were students. And if anyone used to read our diary without our permission, we used to become mad that how dare you read my diaries? That's the kind of privacy we used to maintain. What is happening in today's time, where we have gone wrong? If you are doing anything in your private life, what you do in order to get informed to your friends, in order to make them aware that what are you doing with your friends, maybe with your life partner, maybe with your kids, maybe with your family, you put it in social domain. Could be on Facebook, could be on other social domain. And if next 2-3 days your friends believe that it's a private matter, to react on this, he has or she has put it, but I should resist myself from reacting on that. If no one reacts on your post, then you make another post after 2-3 days. Every one of us, every one of my friends are sleeping or what? No light. That's a kind of change in the attitude which has come up. And if that kind of change we will be bringing in the domain, this implies the private matters, maybe 30 years ago, when we used to become mad that why people have read my diary without my permission, 30 years after down the line, if people do not read my private diaries, we become mad. That's the kind of change. This change is not desirable. This change is not in the best possible interest of the cyber citizenship. And that's how I keep on giving that example, that a family was going to Manali and started posting all details of the trips a month in advance. And the moment they started posting details a month in advance, the thieves also started planning the burglary at your home. And the day you posted that now I'm at Shimla and tomorrow I will be taking dinner at Manali, the thieves came at your home and they started taking out every item after taking breakfast at your home. Are we interested in doing that? How can we ensure that vulnerability must be plugged right at the opening end in a proactive manner? And if you are not doing that, friends, let me tell you upfront in the language of a poet that एक बड़ा पोएट कहता है कि अगर आप अपनी चीजों का खुद ध्यान नहीं रखते, अगर आप वल्नरेबिलिटीज को उनके ओपनिंग एंड पे नहीं रोकेंगे, तो जो कंसिक्वेंसेस हैं वो फेस करने के लिए तैयार रहना पड़ेगा. और पोएट कहता है, जो चाहते हो चिरागों को हम सफर रखना. चिराग दिया को कहते हैं, जो चाहते हो चिरागों को हम सफर रखना, जरा हवा के इरादों पे भी नजर रखना. जो अटैकर्स हैं, हैकर्स हैं, क्रैकर्स हैं, इंट्रूडर्स हैं, इनके प्लान पे, जो थीव्स हैं, इनके प्लान पे नजर रखना. जो चाहते हो चिरागों को हम सफर रखना, जरा हवा के इरादों पे भी नजर रखना. अब उजड़ गए हो तो ये शिकायतें कैसी, कहा था किसने कि तूफान की जद पे रहना. तो मेरे माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, मैसेज यहां ये है कि जो वल्नरेबिलिटीज हमारे सिस्टम में है, जो वल्नरेबिलिटीज हमारे सिस्टम के अराउंड मूव कर रही हैं, how to ensure that those vulnerabilities are not going to create a negative impact in my cyber life. That is a topic for today's program, and for that the Dr. Anup has been invited. And the चार कपलेट जो मैंने आपको सुनाया, उसका जवाब डॉक्टर अनूप के पूरे लेक्चर के बाद ये होना चाहिए कि we have learned how to behave in cyber world. We have to learn to maintain our privacy, and it is an open challenge to all hackers. It's an open challenge to all intruders. With again वो जो कहते हैं ना, शायरी का जवाब शायरी से हो, तो वल्नरेबिलिटीज का अटैकर्स का जवाब अटैकर की लैंग्वेज में है, और वो लैंग्वेज ये है एब्सोल्युटली न्यू. अल्लामा इकबाल की ये दो पंक्तियां हैं एक बड़े गजल की, वो आपको बताऊं कि आप अपने वल्नरेबिलिटीज को फिक्स कीजिए और फिर अपने अटैकर्स को चैलेंज दीजिए कि मैं आंधियों की जमानत लिखा के आया हूं. मैं आज वहां कह रहे थे ना कि अब उजड़ गए हो तो ये शिकायतें कैसी, आप उसका जवाब ये दीजिए आज के इस वेबिनार को फिनिश करने के बाद, सीखने के बाद कि हमें साइबर अवेयर सिटीजन कैसे बनना है, ये समझने के बाद, वल्नरेबिलिटीज को प्लग करने के बाद, कि मैं आंधियों की जमानत लिखा के आया हूं, मेरा चिराग हवाओं के पास रख देना. I plug my vulnerabilities in such a way that no attacker is going to create a problem for me. That should be our motto out after attending this lecture. And on this note, I will conclude that many of you who are old participants to our program, you already know how to get certificate. But those who are new participants, for them, let me brief quickly that by end of the program, we'll be sharing a feedback link. You have to fill up the feedback link. While filling up, please pay attention that you write a correct mail ID, which is working, and possibly if you have a Gmail ID, please write that Gmail ID because our system works seamlessly well with Gmail. Second, you write your correct name. You write your organization, your college, your university name. Those who are students from different institutions, they can write their institute or university name. Those who are superannuated, they can write your previous organization name. While writing name, please ensure we have got only one line for the organization. So abbreviate your organization name and write it. Otherwise, it will get mixed with the next line and then your certificate will be of no use. And once you complete this feedback form, then submit this feedback form. Our system to generate certificate is automated. It is not a manual process. So that automated system will fetch data from your feedback form, will generate certificate, will create its PDF, will send as attachment on your email ID, which you have given in the feedback form. After its submission, wait for 30 minutes. If you didn't get the feedback, if you didn't get the certificate on your email ID as an attachment, then along with the same feedback link, we will also be sharing the Google Drive link. Then you can click on the Google Drive link, refresh it so that the fresh certificates can also be reflected, and then check your certificate in alphabetical manner. This is all the process of getting certificate. We have multiple programs. Our forthcoming 3 webinars are open for the purpose of registration. Every time you keep on ringing me, keep on giving me email, keep on giving me WhatsApp calls, WhatsApp messages that I have not received this, I have not received that. Many times you didn't register, so you didn't receive. So register in advance. 3 forthcoming webinars are already available, open for registration. And when you are checking your email, do check your spam folder also. And if you find that our automated email system is delivering mail in your spam folder, please ensure you click it not spam or save, so that next time onwards it is being delivered in your inbox. Thank you so much. The entire purpose of all these webinars are to ensure that we help you, we facilitate you, to bring you into a light from darkness, to bring you into a knowledge era from ignorance era. And that's how a great poet has given an analogy of this teaching learning system, which brings us to a light from a darkness, which brings us to a kind of a knowledge era from an ignorance era. That उजाले अपनी आंखों में महफूज कर लो. उजाले, power of knowledge अपनी आंखों में महफूज कर लो मीन्स अपनी पर्सनालिटी का इंटीग्रेटेड पार्ट बना लो, इंटीग्रल पार्ट बना लो, एम्बेडेड कंपोनेंट बना लो. तो उजाले अपनी आंखों में महफूज कर लो. अगर ये नहीं करते तो लाइफ में चैलेंजेस बहुत ज्यादा हैं. आज गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की वेबसाइट है, कल हमारी और आपकी हो सकती है. आज वेबसाइट का नंबर है, कल हमारे बैंक अकाउंट का नंबर हो सकता है, और बहुत सारे ऐसे हो सकते हैं. और फिर हम पिलर टू पोस्ट भागेंगे. इसका कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं होगा. इसका सोल्यूशन आज डॉक्टर अनूप गिरधर के लेक्चर में है कि हमें साइबर अवेयर सिटीजन कैसे बनना है. तो ये जो साइबर अवेयरनेस की टेक्निक है, ये हमें अंधेरे में आने वाले चैलेंजेस से को फेस करने के लिए एनफ एनर्जी देगी. तो पोएट कहता है कि उजाले अपनी आंखों में महफूज कर लो, बड़ी दूर तक रात ही रात होगी, चैलेंजेस बहुत होंगे. मुसाफिर हो तुम भी, मुसाफिर है हम भी, किसी मोड़ पे फिर मुलाकात होगी. थैंक यू सो मच फ्रेंड्स. ऑल द बेस्ट टू ऑल ऑफ यू. थैंक यू डॉक्टर.
Thank you, sir. I will now welcome us amongst us our expert speaker, Dr. Anup Girdhar, CEO, founder, Cedulity Solutions and Technologies, a cybersecurity consultant and an independent cybercrime investigator. Sir has more than 20 years of experience in training and securing the cyber departments of government agencies as well as private enterprises. A renowned name in the field of cybersecurity, cybercrime investigation, cyber forensics, and cyber laws, Sir has been a distinguished member of many cyber policy framing panels and boards throughout his career. An acclaimed expert in the field, Sir has also authored many books and research papers on the same. I welcome you, sir, today to this session and will request you to enlighten the House about the core issues of cyber warfare, cyber security, and cyber citizenship. Over to you, Anup, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It's indeed pleasure to be a part of a wonderful audience, and I really especially thanks to Dr. Huda, who invited me personally and giving me an opportunity to interact with a great platform being organized by them. And I was really appreciate the words he said and the way he presented. So thank you so much. Though I was a little connecting that technical and still fighting with the technology to connect, but somehow we'll be there. And thank you so much for all the support to the entire team of Bharati Vidyapeeth and other volunteers who are supporting, I believe, from the back end, from your home, and so on. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. And I think today the topic is very, very, I would say it's a warm topic, a very hot topic nowadays, because we have to talk about the concept about cyber warfare, cyber securities and citizenship of cyber environment in the cyber world. What is this all about? Quickly, I'll start, and I think I'll try to complete the part within the time frame as discussed, and further we'll go for the question answer sessions in case if the participants have any queries related to that. I would like to also share. I would also like to share the some research work where we are working along with, and some case studies where we already did. So I think that would be really beneficial for the participants, and they'll able to at least get some idea like what are the areas and how we are working on these grounds. Now, cyber warfare, what is warfare and all? I think already enlightened by Dr. Huda, very, 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 I was elaborate. He explained in very short way, in very short terms, what is warfare. Today we are on the war. That is a time where we are already connected throughout the world. All are connected, interconnected to each another. And the problem is we are not aware how we are connected. What is my digital identity? And what happens in case if my identity get compromised by someone? What would be the scenario? So today I'm going to show you more practical. So I have a couple of slides in the presentation, and further I'll take you to the practical part also. So I'll just try. I think that is what Huda sir was also expecting me every time, that Anup, you must show something live, so that I'll certainly go for it. And thank you for other panelists for giving me the opportunity also. So just let's work on this. And I think the people who already attended my previous seminars and previous such kind of webinars or so, I generally start my sessions with a very few silly questions. And my generally first silly question is like, in case if you have email ID like on Gmail, Hotmail, Reddit, stop using it. So I simply say stop using it or take precautions. If you are using like a common a network like Wi-Fi, your home networks, or even you are communicating and transferring your data like by pen drive, CDs, or Bluetooth or some other kind of network, simply stop using it or take precautions. I also says like, in case if you are connected with your online transactions where you are using your debit cards, credit cards, and now you have UPI IDs and many different ways to transfer the funds and all. Really stop using it if you are not aware what we are doing. We are not aware what the kind of activities where we are actually performing in a day-to-day life on our all digital gadgets. We have lots of, I think now most of the people are going, and even they are changing their old TVs to smart TVs, Android TVs and all. And the day they started working on Android TV, do you know what kind of consequences are there with such TVs or even other IoT devices as mentioned earlier? So the concern is why I always say stop using it or take precautions. I think now this concept has already been initiated by Government of India, because that is only the way, like being an end user, we thought like, come on, why should I stop using all these things as everybody is connected and everybody is using and following? Even same thing happened in my family also. The moment I'll say to my wife or my children or my other, in the relation, that you please stop using Facebook or stop using all these things or other social media site, they said, come on, you are already on the Facebook and others are already on Facebook. It meant to create a social network. Why not I'll be on Facebook? Why not I'll be on other social networks or other applications which are actually helpful for many different tasks and different purpose? But I think there is some enlightening issue is there. Some major cause is there. There is one reason where we are not aware of. And I think now we have already, I think the government already got the flame of the point which we are talking about, I think since even more than a decade. We were discussing the same point. And today you are saying, like it's a today's news. Now Paytm is also banned and it is not available in your Google Play Store. Already Government of India notified 118 different applications which they already blocked. And even before that, 56 apps were also blocked. Why? It was only that there is a war issue or that we are on the war or silent, some activities were going on the borders. So are we really talking about that kind of issues? Is it like governmental or military or political issues? Or is it the issue related to being an individual? What exactly we are doing? Where we are connected? And what happened in case if some incident occurred? I hope you remember one of the case a long back. And in fact, I hope you must have faced earlier this COVID-19. Whenever we used to go for a flights and even domestic or international flights, they generally used to call it, sir, do you have any Samsung, that tablet, specific Note tablet, or any mobile phone batteries which you are placing in the baggage? So in case if it is, your baggage would not be shipped. Have you ever thought why they were talking all about? What are the reasons? Why it is happening? And what are the real cause? Means, think what is the temperature in the flight? And in case if you are using those gadgets, digital gadgets in the flight, what happened? Though there is even few of the flights have the internet services, but obviously you do not have the signals over there. So you can simply go to the flight mode and you can access internet services even provided by the flights, or you can use the offline apps or offline applications which are there in your computers or on other devices. But what happened one fine day, that device was blasted in the flight itself because it was programmed. Don't you think so? Who programmed, when it was programmed, and how it was actually triggered? Luckily, that was triggered in the flight. So the concern was, and it was a rumor that because the battery, there is a problem in the battery, and it was actually, the temperature of the battery increased, and just because of that, it busted, and things were came into the picture. Can you imagine, like, the battery, what was the temperature part, and what is the temperature even in the flights? So do you really believe that the digital gadgets get easily busted in the flights? No, that's one of the simple trial, I would say, mock drills which are going on for cyber warfare. There are lots of cases, lots of issues which are again coming up on a day-to-day basis, and you will find lots of issues like we are not aware at all that what we are, the activities we are doing and what we are performing. Think practically before GeoSIM. I hope most of you have as an external chip using GeoSIM where you are getting a good internet connection and all. And again, it's good to use and obviously all the stuff. But have you ever thought why GeoSIM? Just before GeoSIM, what was the connection? What was the internet traffic which we were using? And that internet traffic was, I think if you remember, that the plan was almost 1 GB per month or 1.5 GB per month. And what happened all of a sudden once the 4G started, that immediately you need 1.5 GB per day. And even nowadays, I think 2 GB is not enough for you to access internet services in your mobiles. Are you really going to exhaust such bandwidth, such internet bandwidth? What is happening? What is the size of the data? What is the volume which we are transferring from one place to other? Is it really required? Is it really worth to use? Might be you will say that the size of the videos are quite high. What is the size? Have you ever tried to evaluate? I'm telling you, like, in case if you are visiting one movie or one YouTube video, say on 720 pixel, then for 1 minute video, approximately 3 to 4 MB per minute data consumption was actually, occupied of your bandwidth. So now you compare what is minutes of the videos, and accordingly, I think we can able to evaluate. Really, we are using the GBs of data. 1 GB is equals to 1024 MB. And you're talking about 1.5 GB, 2 GB. And in case even if you have you're working in your corporate or in your organization, then you have a bandwidth like anything. And what is the consumption of the bandwidth? Just try and cross-check. You'll be shocked to identify what exactly is going on in this industry. Why the hardwares are so cheaper? Why China earlier was deploying such hardware in India where the cost is like nothing and we are getting a great gadgets. We are just fascinated by a higher resolution of the camera or processor or RAM or something like that. And simply will switch our existing devices, existing digital gadgets to others. Do you know what exactly is there behind that? Lots of case studies and lots of facts today I try to identify and quickly want to show you that particular part. The problem is really stop using it or take precautions, because that was one of the real issue which is coming up in front of us. What is cyber warfare? We all are connected, and frankly speaking, most of the countries were involved nowadays, and they have a separate departments. They have a dedicated separate departments only and only who are looking for cyber warfare. Anybody knows, like India already just initiated, and we got one new department in India to take care for cyber warfare. Do you really know the name of that department or that organization? Being it was established just in 2019. If anybody heard about, that is DCA. Anybody heard about? Defense, cyber, army. Anybody heard about? Yes, great. So some messages are also there. So DCA is one of the army. That is a tri-army. That's correct. Tri-colors, all the different, all three tri-authorities of our core defense departments were actually involved into that, and they were only and only taking care for cyber warfare. So India is not behind other countries, or we are equally parallelly we are working and going to establish lots of new models just to mitigate the risk factors for our country level. For the borders, the way we all are working. However, still the lack is there, the lack of problem is there. The government is taking some initiative, whatever the ways they have identified and the way they have presented, even though we also gave some input to government, and we also listed some apps, and I'll show you one of the results where practically we did an audit on the mobile phone, and we took some particular applications, and I'll show you that particular project, and you'll realize that that app was really so much vulnerable. And in that 118 apps which were just blocked recently by the government of India, those apps were actually listed over there. I'm talking about not only for the Chinese app, but think about the other countries who are working and what are their mindset on the back end, and what are the monitoring and tracking concepts which are going on. It's all hybrid model which has already been initiated. Everybody is behind. Right now we all are connected in cyber war. What are the responsibilities being a cyber citizen? I think that is more important part in this particular area. So we'll talk on that, and we'll talk on do's and don'ts. So quickly I'll come to that point so you can see what is the cyber warfare and what are the issues where we are indulged into. Some common cyber warfare issues, like if I talk about, so the major threats, if I'll talk about for the cyber warfare, so the major threats was, first of all, sabotage. What do you mean by the sabotage? What is this sabotage all about? Just give me a minute. Okay, so what do you mean by sabotage? And what are the common threats? Is it a threat or is it a vulnerability? See, deliberately, someone was actually trying to place an effort on the weakness, where the weakness means I'm talking about the vulnerabilities which exist. What are those vulnerabilities? Like the users, end users in our country who are using the digital gadgets, the application which they are using, the hardware which we are using, or even the infrastructure for the data transmissions or the network which we are using is actually vulnerable, or it was designed in such a way to get the access of all such network communication devices and the channels so that easily they can able to abstract, they can able to control, they can able to mitigate, or even similar, like they might blast, like Samsung Note in the flight, as I started with that case. So there are many things which are coming in front of us, right? So these are the common weaknesses. What are the real ways? What are the weaknesses which we are talking about? So I think very correctly said again with Dr. Huda that we have to mitigate in such a way. We have to talk about more secure way that will really say, come and hack in case if you can, right? So really the quotation on my website also you will find the if you really want to stop the hacker, then you have to think like one. So that is what the policies which we are using, and to mitigate those policies we need to promote certain research work, certain activities, and we have to revamp the policies from the organization side as well very frequently, so that we'll be able to understand the virtual world, the behavior of the virtual world, and can be able to mitigate based on the activities being performed or logged in those servers. We are actually going to focus more on zero-day vulnerability. So that is more like the another part where we have to working, and we are talking about that part. So technically, as a user, if I'll talk about, so actually the privacy breach is one of the major concern for us. So I'll just update you. In December 2019, already a personal data protection bill has already been introduced and already approved in Lok Sabha. So what does it mean? It means government already aware of these kind of issues. Even in the European Union, I hope you heard about the concept called GDPR. So GDPR is one of the policy which has already been approved in all the European Union, and they are very much concerned about their citizens, that the information about their citizens should not be disclosed by other countries, and they're not supposed to interact with them even for the marketing or for the business sake or so. So that's what like okay, so the link means what exactly the concern is. The concern is basically they already these servers, especially like Google, I'm talking about Facebook, were already penalized with huge penalty, a huge fine, which were already imposed by European Union, because their data, their privacy was already breached, and that application was meant actually to do so. And we all are happy to share our personal pics on Facebook and other activities. Can you imagine the day you are transferring your image, your pics? It's quite easy to identify even your geographical location from the metadata of your pics, right? If you want, practically, I can show you. There is one simple tool called EXIF tool. You can check EXIF tool, where we can identify your geographical location. So today, if I'll request you to please take a pic of any document, and please send me as an attachment, or even on WhatsApp or any other way, or email me or something like that. You just give me a pic. Based on that pic, we can able to give you from which software, from which device you captured that particular content, and what was your geographical location. So lots of hidden parameters were designed in such a way. These hardware, these mobile phones were designed in such a way that we become addicted to that, and we are happy to use and happy to share and to create our social networks, making a communication, transferring a data onto that. But on a back end, some service providers are taking the benefits of that. Basically, they are doing the abstinence. Basically, what is that? They are spying on us. So there are lots and lots of activities which are going on online, where the abstinence, the applications were designed only. I think TikTok was one of the application, if you remember, that was initiated again, and it was blocked now, right? So the people who are talking and they are taking their pics and they're capturing their activities, and they start circulating or sharing on their public networks or on a social media, that becomes a real vulnerable part, because whomsoever deployed a TikTok or any such application, they're not only mobile, but that number of vulnerabilities were actually exist in those applications. And though it was authentic and it was a genuine application, even deployed from your Google Play Store or Apple Store or some other your repositories. So what is that abstinence? So abstinence is another threat of cyber warfare. So that is one of the real reason where people are working. DOS attacks, I think that's very, very common. Anyone can implement a DOS or DDoS attack by using a small application, playing with the protocols, playing with the coding. In fact, in our sessions, we used to share lots of ideas and lots of ways like how the people were working and what was the criteria, practically the way how the people were making certain attacks. Can we mitigate such attacks? Now the question is mitigation. Can we really make the mitigations of such attacks? And according to the protocols, according to the services being exposed or available publicly, I think in COVID-19, like most of the organization adapted the intranet services on VPN. So they basically accepted the VPN model, shared a VPN to their employees, and work from home culture started. So that was initiated. Now work from home, the day from the work from home culture initiated, that becomes another opportunity for the hackers. They can easily spoof the data. That is a digital snooping. So they are basically doing a digital snooping on all the behaviors and all the activities being performed by the users, right? And that's a good time where simply they can penetrate even in your networks and access your internal secured applications or the data, which is only and only given to the trusted devices. So trusted devices mean they have the privilege to access that particular data. So now the hackers are not only targeting to the end user, or even they are not only connected to just to generate the traffic or buffer overflow attack on your networks or on your infrastructures. what all they are doing, they are not targeting to all the soft corners. They basically penetrate those end users machines, all the digital gadgets, like you might be Android TV, mobile phones, or laptops, computer, which we are using at home. And being a higher official of my company or other companies or similar like you are from some renowned organizations, right? You are already have some confidential data. So the services which you are using, have you ever tried to monitor what exactly is going in your computer, what exactly is going in your networks? I think that was a kind of devices or the security policies are still missing, even for the end user side, for the application level side. So I think if you know a basic concept of OSI model, I think I always prefer we need a security policies for all 7 layers. At least then only, and the frequent audits and the frequent behavior analysis is more important. Log analysis is more important. So, and the real-time activity being performed on the servers or on our personal machines need to be monitored, which is actually missing a lot. Even I'm talking about the highly listed Sensex companies, even in India, and they become a victim of a major financial frauds with other activities like impersonation or hacking and or phishing and many other certain cyber attacks. I'll just quickly connect to that particular part. Common issues like with the propagandas. I think that is another the way how they'll generate the traffic. And once they are trying to generate the traffic, they are trying to send you some links. Please make sure do not click to those links which are coming from unofficial sites. Please cross check. Even especially in your mails or in your social media site, somebody is trying to give you some links, and the moment you'll access that link, that was rooted. There is a concept also called DNS poisoning. So that might be a get accessed, and you are actually trying to access a particular site, but that site, that page was fished or redirected from another channel, so that some malware were actually embedded in your system or in your files. So what about fake news? So recently we have already connected with one of the research part where we analyzed the fake news analysis. And one of the very good algorithm where we work with the NLP algorithms, that is a natural processing algorithms are there. NLP and natural language processing algorithms are there called Grover. So we worked on Grover, right, and other machine learning algorithms to identify how we can able to identify the fake news and all, and about the other propagandas which are going by the political parties and other socialists, or in fact the people who are like nowadays you have seen in the media, I think Sushant Singh case. So everybody is now they have a curiosity, and especially another alarm for all the film industry that they are even fighting internally by unknown way, or and generating a nuisance on the network or so. The concern is how will do this, how will identify this, and what is the purpose behind that. The day some information or breaking news is there, please try and understand that might carry lots of, this is what, like after the research, even the 60% of the data which was actually circulated by the news portals or as a breaking news might be carrying some links, and they are trying to focus or generating a certain traffic on certain servers, which actually creates a lot of problems for you, because that's a time the malware get installed in your digital gadgets, and you also become, or we also becomes the victim of some further cyber threats or cyber attacks also. So in other way, everybody is now trying to make us a zombies. Zombies means a person who is without brain and just connecting and making certain activities on the networks. So that is what like the major issues which are coming, and that is a real threat for even our country. And the way how they got motivated, especially if we talk about the cyber warfare. So the three major areas, I hope you have noticed. First is military. So it means, as I said, every country, they have their separate department. They hire the hackers to make certain attacks or find the vulnerabilities of other countries' websites, especially government website, e-governance and other activities, so that they can able to identify what exactly is going behind that. And they try to create a silent applications, hidden applications, inactive applications, and whenever they want to trigger, at least they can able to trigger and shoot there and then, and they become a massive disasters, a massive pandemic in front of everyone. So COVID-19 is just a chemical war. That is another way of chemical war, but cyber wars are already initiated. Although I believe like somehow there was a security level which has already been implemented, and at least we have some knowledge level and we have some awareness. Just because of that, I think now they're rooting to the chemical war instead of cyber war, which is a good part, I believe. So means I'm quite a little happy. At least this kind of initiative was not done from a cyber warfare, but obviously then they opted another channel, that is a chemical war. And now I think on a day-to-day basis, you will find what type of chemical reactions and chemical activities being performed by China. Or I think daily today also I have seen some other type of news, other type of viruses being introduced, even in China, and again infecting to male their citizens. So what is that all about? And that kind of virus will simply redirect it to entire world or other countries. So I'm not focusing to particular country, but the concern is all the countries are involved into this. Such activities were going on frequently. So that is a real challenge. Another main challenge is civilian-based attacks. So we all are, so that's what I think the topic which is very much correlated, that is cyber citizen. What is cyber citizenship? Being a civilian, are we really happy to use Facebook? It was a survey that almost, I'm talking about the vacant time of a human. Out of that, almost average 3 hours of the vacant time we actually spends on our mobile phones. And out of that, even 70 to 80% on social media. Please try and understand, it is really, really dangerous for us. We have to take a lot of precautions. We have to block it, because now the massive results, the massive community spreads are coming across, and that creates another panic, another pandemic. We are already affected. Our Indian GDP is already there, and all the things are in front of us just because of one single chemical reaction which was there in front of us. What about the cyber war? What about the communication in case if it stucks? Today you are not able to communicate. What exactly we are doing? Where we are connected? How we are connected? Can we able to diagnose? Can we able to identify the things and able to at least find out some solutions on that basis? That is more important and that is more required. We are actually looking for all those things. And most commonly you have seen like somebody defaced the government websites, somebody were penetrating some application, they were generating some application. Like even I remember the day this app called WeChat was introduced by one of the celebrity in India. For 3 months that advertisements were there on all the TV channels. So they spent almost 800 crore rupees just to promote an app called WeChat. Luckily, it was not introduced or it was not highlighted in such a way. However, because we already have a Facebook or a WhatsApp, so everybody was more happy to work only on those directions. But so luckily, it was not introduced. But think practically, are they really going to ask any single penny from us, from end users? No, only what they want. You please come and use my app. Even you take the money back, you take a cashbacks. Once you take a cashback, so they're trying to fascinate you by any mean so that you'll start using, or at least you download that app once in your digital gadget so that they can able to sustain, reside in your all digital gadgets and able to hack your activities, your identities, and they can perform whatever the task they want to perform at their end. So they have the entire control to manage our devices remotely, and we are not aware of. Only the part is we need a bandwidth. And I think how you can evaluate, just check your bandwidth. Really, you are utilizing that level of bandwidth. So the monitoring and tracking is more important. The behavior analysis of your IT infrastructure is more important. Otherwise, we'll be in more panic. So hacktism is one of the way, like some cyber group, some terrorism. I think recently you have seen Prime Minister Modi website got hacked, and somebody came and said I hacked this particular site, and so that is a concept of hacktism. They are targeting to our country or other countries, and some group came across and take the initiative that this is thing what being done by us. Some question was there, I think. What was the difference between? Somebody is asking some question. I am not able to read. Where is it?
The question is
Okay.
the question, Dr. Anup, the difference between threat vulnerability and risk.
Right, sir. Right, sir. We'll take some question, I think, after this session. I'll quickly just wind up the thing, and I'll show some practicals, and I'll come to the conclusion, and I think we'll take a question answers at that point of time. All right. Fine, sir. So this is what like the real motivation behind such attacks and all. So quickly, I'll just skip these all. Already, I explained you. I just want to talk to you about the Indian facts of the cyber warfare. So in India, IT Act was introduced in year 2000, where India was the 13th country who came across with the IT Act, Information Technology Act, where internet was introduced in the somewhere year of 1994 with VSNL. And for almost for 6 years, everybody whomsoever connected on internet and doing whatever the activity was never being considered as a digital evidence or never be considered as an illegal activity or so. So from the year 2000, India got an IT Act where it was mentioned that we need a one separate nodal office for our country who take care for all certain cyber threats and all. So that department was called as CERT. Today, luckily, 15 plus scientists who are working under CERT, luckily they were my student. So that is a pleasure for me to be a part of and serving for so long in this domain and in this era. So luckily I got lots of kind of, I would say it's my privilege now. And today, as I'm serving to many security part and connected to many trainings and all, today the scientists who are working in DRDO, scientists who are working in many renowned organizations, Ministry of IT or especially CERT, they were our students, and somewhere they are connected and they took the training even from us. So what was that? In the year 2004, that CERT organization was actually, introduced in India. However, that was a time where only 23 cyber attacks were reported in India. So in 2011, 13,301 attacks were actually created where the subdivision of the National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center was introduced in 2011. Okay, so that was basically for the attacks against the energy, transport, banking, telecom, defense, space, and other sensitive areas. So now it is not only for the particular organization who is taking care for the IT and all. Basically, we are connected. Our economy, our Indian governance is based on lots of different domains. So these are the most common and sensitive areas for that, for their level of security. I think that was one of the NCIIPC. That is one of the organization, introduced and created in the year of 2011. The exclusive director of Nuclear Power Corporation, India, NPCIL, stated in February 2013 that his company alone was forced to block up to 10 targeted attacks a day. So certain was left to protect, even they were unable to protect. So that was the way they were initiated and they were started, and they were unable to understand what type of attacks you are talking about. What is this virtual world and all? So slow and gradually the initiation done by the government and again the trainings and the activities being performed, they were actually upgrade their skills, they learned, and they finally able to get into many more things. Even though exactly on 12th July 2012, the high profile cyber attacks were actually initiated, and the email accounts of about 12,000 people of all the top officials from the renowned ministries like External Affairs, Home Affairs, and Defense Research Organizations were actually compromised. All right. So again, it was introduced and it was already mentioned like what type of attacks and all that stuff. So in 2010, so obviously one of the group called Indian Cyber Army, they hacked the website belonging to the Pakistan Army and other belonging on the different ministries, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Education, and all. So now you can understand, even I'm talking about 10 years back, a decade back, right? So the exact cyber war was initiated. That is not a new thing. But now you have a different domain, different activities, different procedures to cross check. Even there were unidentified activities I'm talking about, which are actually going on nowadays. So why everybody is saying that either stop using or take precautions? What are common issues? So we have to talk more on that. Even though exactly on 4th December 2010, the CBI site was also hacked by Pakistani cyber army hack. So that was like the way it was. Luckily, I was also connected at that point of time, and we identified the NIC server. And in that NIC server, luckily we found a specific files. By using a C programming, can you imagine a very simple C programming will be able to identify the malicious web shells uploaded from some other websites. And actually, once they get into that server, they deployed in the server, the actually CBI site was not hacked. However, some application files or web shells were loaded by some third-party websites, and they got the privilege to access other websites as well, where the CBI site was also hosted. So that was the way how it was investigated and identified. So a couple of things, the problems which came across, and even in 2013, there was a national cybersecurity policy was introduced, and other activities being came across, right? So even there was an attack where in 2016, I hope you must heard about like your credit card details are available and other informations are available. There is one of the common vulnerability exposed worldwide. There is a number which you can refer. In 2014, that CVE was available. That is 2014-4114 is one of the sandworm vulnerabilities. So sandworm vulnerabilities were actually the example for, it's a kind of a weapon which actually exploits your all the different types of devices and gadgets which are used especially in the military and even on enforcement agencies and their systems and all. So even it was there was a rumors, there was no confirmed information, but yes, there was a rumors that it has been done somewhere in from the Asia, and again from Asia the backend was somewhere Indian origin content was there, or the information gathered that was being mentioned like this was being done by Indian hackers or somewhere like that. So this is the most focused part. Defense Cyber Agency, that is DCA. Defense Cyber Agency is one of the organization which is an Indian military agency. It's a department specially responsible for cyber warfare, which was introduced in the November 2019 in India. So please try and understand. I'm giving you certain facts of real-time cyber warriors and cyber security issues which are coming across. So are you really, so my main concern is, are you really on social networks? Are you really using Android, iOS, or Windows phones or tablets or devices? Are you really using IoTs? Are you really using Windows operating system, Linux operating system, Mac OS or so, net banking, mobile banking, credit card, debit cards? Are you really using Google? Means you can't imagine. You right now share. Quickly, I'll show you if possible. Let me quickly show you. Yes, exactly. If you can able to log in with your Gmail, shall I show you what the kind of activity being performed by you yesterday, day before yesterday, last week, or even a month before, or a couple of months before? Quite easy job. What only you need to do, you just need to log in with your Gmail ID. Say you will connect, log in with your Gmail ID, and I'll give you one keyword. The keyword is just type Google to understand what's going on. Okay, I'll just say login with my account only and show you. So I'm just going to show you like how the things are going on. It is not only with me. Even we saw cases for missing person if we want to identify and so on. So even because without Gmail you cannot survive. Finally, we have to load a Gmail ID and then only we can access the Google Play Store or other on Android devices. Or even you are using, might be you are connected with your banking systems or so. Okay, if I'll ask you one important thing. Is it your digital identity? Like today, if I'm using like my email ID, like anoopgirdhar@gmail.com. So if this is also one of my email ID, my concern is, right, do you really believe this is my digital identity? Can I claim on the basis of some dispute, in case if it is going in the court, can I claim that this is my digital identity? Who have the ownership of Gmail ID? Can anyone explain? Who have? I think we'll connect and we'll have a question answer session. I'll show you quickly and I'll come to that and I'll show you the real cause. Frankly speaking, you are not the owner of your Gmail IDs, right? You're not at all the owner of the Gmail IDs. So ownership is again and only with Google. We actually signed a end user license agreement. So legally, we are just the end user to use the services driven by the Google, and we are bound to use those services based on their disclaimer, which we have accepted without reading. So we'll simply search where is I agree button, click and proceed further, and that's it. See, in Google, I'll just write Google activities. You can write Google activity or you can write Google history. Simply just write this particular part, Google history or Google activity. Just go for it. Obviously, you need to sign in before you log in. So we need a one particular account, and on that basis, we just able to identify what exactly the things are going on the back end. So we can have a look like today, somewhere on 10th of this, somebody access, what do you mean by the Excel 2016 scenario manager? Somebody access what if analysis in Excel, right? So on my phone or my ID, because that machine was also connected and permanently deployed. So I gave this machine to one of my employee who was using this account, and somewhere I never said what exactly they were doing, but just yesterday on 16th of September, it has been identified that the person was learning somewhere MS Excel online, right? So even you will see what all the things were they were looking for, even how to add a digital signatures in your email and something like that. So can you imagine your all the previous activities were somewhere logged with Google? Not only this, even we can go and identify your controls, active controls, the devices where you are using. So we have lots of things, even your location history. So it is quite easy to identify your location histories. See, they are maintaining your location histories. So the more, like if you want to access, simply go and you can see, manage your activities in case if you have your previous history. So whatever your location was all about, even though by using these services, we identified the missing person, we saw lots of cases on that basis, right? So now the question is, being an end user, being an investigator, I tried to investigate the digital evidence, and I was just trying to collect the real-time footprints of any user or any email ID. Think practically Google is maintaining that record, and if they are maintaining such records, we are happy to share whatever is being done and being given to Google. So who is Google? Don't you think so? We are doing Google Nama on a day-to-day basis. I don't know whether we do workshop or not, at our home or in our office or something. Why free mail servers? Why Google searching? I think I remember, even though other eminent speakers are already aware of it, there was no Google at all. We did our graduations without Google. I also studied my bachelor's, where I completed my bachelor's. Till the time there was no Google, there was no Google platform at all. And how we started, even we request to many IITians and other good renowned organization where we used to sit into the libraries and read lots of books and all. But today we are talking about the crisp of the content. We are not reading from the page 1 to all the other pages. We are looking for the crisp of the content, and we correlate and just will start working on that. That is another propaganda which has also been initiated for cyber warfare. So whatever you are using, if you are using, please stop using it or take precautions. That, like I was trying to aware, just to give you the awareness of all. Another major issues, ransomwares. I think personally, I'm not saying for others, but personally, more than 200 cases came across from 2017 till 2020. where many regular users become the victim, and especially those users who are connected to some organization, renowned organizations. Their computers get compromised with ransomware attacks. So what are these ransomware attacks? Since 1980s, if we'll talk about, this is a big list. Until 2020, even we are still facing the challenges of ransomware attacks. So these are the real-time challenges and real-time issues where we are working. So please take precautions. Now, what type of silly mistakes which we are doing? We are using debit card, credit cards. Stop using debit and credit cards if you are not aware what we have to do. Do you know that way of transaction? There are two banking transactions, 2D and 3D. In US, till date, I hope like if we have paid the like Zoomers or other accounts or this Amazon accounts and all, whenever you are making a payment and you are connecting your debit or credit cards with them, they only still working with the 2D transaction model. That means the day you connect your card, they'll save your cards in their database for sure. And without your permission, even they have the rights to deduct the amount, and there is no OTP being generated even for the Indian cards. However, in India, the Indian banking system is connected with 3D model. 3D banking system. So 3D banking system means we'll get an OTP. But frankly speaking, think about like the apps like Truecaller. Don't you think so? Truecaller can able to extract your OTP or SMS, although it was created only to give you the message that you're getting a call from spammer or so-and-so name and something like that. But what they are doing, and officially on record, they are hacking our phones. They are hacking our devices. They extract the information and they're maintaining their database at their end. And on that basis, they do real-time hacking. They have all monitoring and stalking apps are there, which are surrounding to us. And we are all, it's a jungle of apps. And we are actually in that jungle. We are not at all aware of what exactly the activity is being performed by us and what are the consequences. Even though it is highly recommended to use HTTPS. Now we must be assured that whether it is HTTPS, and the latest part is HTTPS must be along with the TLS. So whether it is only HTTPS or it is a HTTPS with TLS, because there is an attack called session hijacking, which is possible even with HTTPS. You'll give me, I think, web vulnerability. I think you'll go just search for YouTube videos. I think lakhs of videos are available how you can hack SSL certificates or any digital identity encrypted a session ID, which we can able to fetch and we can able to deploy in third-party browsers, and without username and password we can access their services. Quite possible. I think if you remember, once the COVID pandemic started, Zoomers is one of the app where they initiated, and then government also said no, please don't use Zoomers because it is vulnerable. What is the reason? Because they use HTTPS and they were not using TLS security on their backend. That is one of the reasons where they were said. And from 7th April 2020, now Zoomers is also using HTTPS with TLS. So now they are also secure and maintaining end-to-end encryption standards. But sorry to say, if your digital device is already compromised with, say, keystrokes, applications, or some malwares, so basically that is digital snooping. So if you are already become a victim of digital snooping, hardly matters. Obviously, the man in the middle attack is not possible on the network. But somehow your computers, your digital devices, and whatever the data being, you are trying to feed on your devices, that credentials being logged in third-party services, encrypted services, and easily accessible by remote servers or remote users. So quickly, these are the common challenges and common issues which are coming in front of us. Many different attacks which are already there. This is one of the ransomware, another DDoS attacks, impersonation. IT Act is already introduced with the latest amendments, and other latest notifications are there on Ministry of Information Technology website. So amendment of IT Act, mostly the hacking sections are like section 43, which is under chapter number 9, and that is only for related to the penalties, where it is highly means even all the advocates are recommending that we should redirect that cases to the cognizable offenses, and that is under chapter number 11, so that we will convert that basic sections to the cognizable sections or offense-based sections. So that is chapter number 11, which carries section 65, 66, 67, 68 for all the cognizable offenses related to hacking, obscene content, transmission, detection, and whatever the possible way of hacking is there. But somehow, only the problem is how to detect that, how to identify the things on that. That are the real challenges again with the cybersecurity issues. And some do's and don'ts are important to understand and to mitigate the risk. I quickly go for the cyber citizenship. So now I think that is more with the related to do's and don'ts and all. In this particular scenario, what is cyber citizenship? I think we should talk about what are the rights as a citizen. Being into a democratic country, do we have the rights? And I hope you must aware of now, privacy is also the constitution right of Indian citizen. So privacy has already been introduced in the Constitution of India, right? So I'm not only talking about cyber privacy, I'm talking about the privacy. However, that's why the personal data protection bill is about to be become an act. I think this year end or next year or whatever, I think we'll get that act also get introduced very soon, because it has already been approved in the Lok Sabha. I think that will get introduced in other Rajya Sabhas, and finally signatures of President of India and things comes across to us. So what are the responsibilities of good citizen? There is no law of cyber citizenship. There is nothing. But the day we connect to any internet service or application or a network or using any digital communication mode, we actually become a citizen of cyber world. And the day we become a citizen of cyber world, what all the activities being performed by us? What are our rights? What are our challenges? So in India, the rights has been protected under IT Act amendment. So some further other time I'll share some legal procedures and legal consequences and even the loopholes in the legal system about the cyber rights. So do I have the right? Now that's what my question is. One of the question. What is my cyber identity? So is that Gmail ID which I'm using it, which I connected to my bank, which I connected to my corporate world or everywhere, and even I'm using it on my business card, is it my rights to write it? First. Second, is it my digital identity? Is it my cyber identity? And being a citizen, can I hold that content and I proudly say that is my identity and I can produce that content or some evidence that is being used by us? Because there is one of the dispute in the court that one of the email ID where the password get shared along with the multiple users, right, in the organization to access that common, I think EDP department or some department's mail ID was actually with the Gmail and all. However, that was created by some person, and now there was a dispute that who sent that specific mail and who had the ownership of that mail. So everybody was trying to claim that email ID was prepared by us or email ID was accessed by us. So what is the accessibility? Today you have the password of your email ID. Tomorrow, if that password get compromised and that password comes to some other user, and now they started using that email ID. So is it really redirecting to them? So identity is a movable property, or is it my permanent property, or is it my personal property, or it's a shared property? So how you produce that content and what are my rights? So frankly speaking, even there is a concept we are talking about plague check or plagiarisms and in the research papers and all. Remember, the day you write a paper or you write any particular article or even a single line online on any particular website where it is accessible by the public use, even on the email, not on the even online portal or somewhere, even you wrote a particular line in your particular email where it's shared to one or more users, automatically that also considered as a copyright. However, you have not approached to the relevant authorities. So is it my real rights? What about life? What about the liberty and pursuit of happiness? And also many questions are coming across, even though the privilege. So being a citizen, do I have a privilege? So I think we already had one of the issue earlier, net neutrality, if you remember, which says that at least all the citizens must get the internet access. So pehle hota tha roti kapda makan. अभी हमको क्या चाहिए, रोटी के लिए तो हम शायद डाइट चार्ट और बड़ा कुछ like we people are following and we are very conscious about health and the food diets and other things. But what about, why don't we have a chart or why don't we have a checklist to access internet services? And because internet becomes our basic need, and on that, so net neutrality was one of the example which clearly says that we have the right, we should have a privilege being a citizen to get the access of internet throughout the world through cellular networks and all. So that is one of the parts. Then what about the responsibilities? I remember one of the, I think Dr. Huda, you were also one of the member of that one of the group developed in on WhatsApp, and I was there, and many other professors from at least Delhi or even NCR. There was a one group a long back. I remember one of the IP University professor prepared that group and initiated. And what happened? Somehow one of the another engineering college professor placed one video on that group, and that video was related to one news channel who captured a video, and that was just forwarded over there. The day they forward, and what was the content? They were saying like a UP police ka atyachar and something like that kind of video was there, where it shows that some cops reach to the slum areas and they start hitting with that stick which they used to hold. And what happened, from one of the tent where one lady might be bathing over there and without clothes, she ran away because of the fear factor on the road without clothes. And that content was actually captured by one of the news channel, and that get broadcasted on that particular website domain. You can't imagine that the day anybody transfer, it is officially an offense under section 67, 5 years imprisonment, or even 3 years imprisonment, 5 lakh rupees is one of the provision which is there. And even the admin is also responsible for certain activities, and they have to oppose. Or being a member of that group, I also need to oppose. I have to generate an objection on that content, because that is somewhere obscene content, even though intention was not that. The intention was like there was a UP police atyachar and something like that. But actually what happened, the content shown over there is something wrong. And many cases came across. I think ek bada acha case tha Jija Sala group. One of the Jija Salas created a group, and one of the some Jija Sala get some disputes internally, something was going on, and Jija and Indian, Indian tendency, Jija have some egoistic issues. So one of the Jija wrote on a WhatsApp group that one word, one statement, "Are sale tum to sale hi rahoge." So the way the conversation was going on, somehow he wrote this statement. Luckily, the Sala, the person who was there, so the common person was a lady, like the lady's brother, Sala, and lady's husband called Jija. So they both were connected on that group. And now that Sala filed a petition of defacement to that Jija, where it says, usne mujhe defame kiya. And they are asking for the compensation, which is in crores. Can you imagine on this particular statement? I think in Delhi High Court mein ye case chala tha. Right. So they basically file a petition on this particular part that it is a defamation, and the defamation means he wrote, "Are sale tum to sale hi rahoge." So the first Sala is actually for the relationship, that as his sister got married with him. So that was okay, accepted, because that is the word in Hindi everybody is using. But at the same point of time, the other Sala was imposed, especially, which is abusing and defamatory in the entire society and entire group. And they mentioned, so please remember, do not write anything in abbreviation on your groups. Please take precautions. अभी मैंने कुछ वो देखा, अभी कुछ लोग वो करते हैं, कुछ नई डिक्शनरी बन गई है, like now you might have seen the new dictionary word lol, TYSM. I don't know why the youngsters are writing in this way. Please, there are some sentiments of some person due to the religion, due to their society. We should abide, we should respect all the citizens, and that is our responsibility to being a cyber citizen. We have to take care, we have to write all the things accordingly. Means it happens with me also, and I was shocked that the way what is actually going on. Just a year back, I got a call. My phone was my daughter, along with my daughter. So my daughter was operating and there was a call pop-ups which says with the name of some professor and some word was already there. So she was little worried and she go to the mom and said, "Mom, आपको पता है पापा ना कुछ abusive words करके किसी का नाम से store करते." So she asked what happened. She shown to her, see, this is the missed call which is there. Now my wife was standing like, "Aaj aane do," and all. So the way I'll reach and she asked me, "Come on, why you write abusive word?" Because your phone was actually accessed by your kids and all, and why you wrote something like that? I said, "Come on, I never use any abusive word and all. What you are talking all about?" Please try and understand that is what only the part was, that was the abbreviation which was wrote. The name of the professor was there, comma, and I wrote only the abbreviation word, that is GNDU, that is was actually Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. So I just wrote GNDU over there, and that if you think in the Hindi or some other, that becomes sometimes an abusive word. So please try and understand, there is a sentiments, there is a religion sentiments and other issues were actually coming across us. So what are the responsibilities? So we have to be aware of what exactly the activity we are performing and who is accessing my digital device, because it's a common device nowadays. All the trainings are going on online and might be your kids are also accessing your digital gadgets. Please try and understand, we have to take a precaution a lot of times and a lot of things. And we have to be very much decent at the time we are writing something like that. Obviously, I'm not talking about for any religion or something, but yes, there are sentiments and there are also some other things. But any word like in Gujarati, Mota Bhai. So Mota Bhai means a big brother and they are giving a respect. But in Punjabi, if you take Mota Bhai, then you're talking about that 140% or something like that. So please, we have to think about, I think that is what I also cover, digital identity, cyber footprints, your videos, your texts. Sir.
Dr. Anup, it has been an excellent session. I think questions also we need to take. In
Okay,
fact,
okay. Quickly, I'll just wind up, sir.
This topic is so big, so elaborate, and with a speaker like you, who has got more than 2 decades of experience and that too practical experience in this. So temptation is bound to come. This temptation of sharing everything is bound to come. But if you kindly conclude and take up few questions, Dr. Ritika is waiting for questions, please.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. I'll just conclude. Give me just 2 minutes, and I'll finally conclude. And quickly, I'll just want to present one small demo, and quickly I'll just wind up, and I'll over to Ritika ma'am.
Okay.
Right, sir? Sir. Okay. So only the part is what is a citizenship and what is my property and all about. I think there are many things which we have to talk, and we have to. I'll quickly apart. Let me just come and want to actually show you something which is already open. So this is one of the technical report which we have recently analyzed, and we identified the biggest loopholes. And there was a research part. What we did in COVID-19 pandemic, we took applications like Arogya Setu app, similar app. So we took almost 7 apps. So this is one of the practical which we have shown, and I was more focusing about the China, that is Alipay. And recently this app was actually blocked in 118 apps also. So that was one of the result which has already been shown, and we are talking about again the warfare issues. How things are going on because we are using we are downloading these apps and accessing their services and all. So even in India, we have Arogya Setu app, which gives us the information about COVID-19, and obviously it is a government and it is emphasized to everyone to please this app. Even without that, you are not going to use any public services or government services or even Delhi Metro or so. But what type of services and what are their precaution measures or what are their activities being performed on that end? This is the result which we have analyzed. We use a tool called ADB toolkits and other activities being performed on that particular ground. So the moment we did an audit of these all 7 apps, we identified their user IDs and the group IDs being accessed by them. So internally, I quickly come to the yeah. Okay. I quickly one of the result which I on the basis, because it's a big result, and the number of vulnerabilities which has been identified when the result was generated, what are the high level, medium level, or low level severities. So that is what like being exposed, and on that basis, other act being performed on the back end due to that particular issue. So whatever we are saying, we are having technique identified all the facts and we generated the report on that basis. Right. Type of groups or the permissions being granted to others. So mostly we have identified that these are the camera permission, that this is to access anybody's camera. One of the group ID permission is 1006 number, or Bluetooth like 1002 number. So even in Arogya Setu, they always emphasize you to please put on your Bluetooth, otherwise they'll not able to access and all. So it means they are accessing the permission, that permission number is 1002. Which we have taken care. And finally, I would like to show you this chart. In Arogya Setu, the number of permission being granted by default, that was 11. NHSX 12. Trace Together 15. COVID Safe 8. And Alipay was accessing 41 permission from your mobile phone. It is a similar app like COVID-19, like Arogya Setu app. So any person who deployed Alipay app, from obviously it is only for not for China, for anyone can able to go and download these apps. It was actually accessing 41 permission from your phone. So 41 permission means what? I think you can understand. Everything was accessed by them remotely, and they can maintain the records, and you are under their surveillance. So these are the real-time and issues in case if we are using all these things. Lots of observation, lots of results according to their version, SDK standards, and all being identified. So top vulnerabilities, the most top vulnerabilities were there in Alipay only, and obviously compared to other apps and all, right? So obviously recently Arogya Setu also gave you a new version of that. Quickly, I just want to show you and see the different types of vulnerabilities which are there. So it is not the fact that we are saying, say you either stop using or so. Quickly, I want to say some precautions. Now, precautions means what? I hope you most of the time you are not using even antiviruses nowadays in your mobile phones. We are just accessing and based on the operating system level security and all. It is highly secure, no doubt in it, but the permission being granted to you from third-party apps, that's a time you must cross-check the apps. You must, block certain services if it is not required or being used. Or I really appreciate even stop internet if you are not using at that particular time. Exactly like midnight by 2 a.m., 200 hours. Even WhatsApp start automatically synchronizing your data. And so the idle time, in case if your internet is on for 24/7, then all the apps are synchronizing your details by some other person or by some third-party servers. And we got compromised and we are acting like a zombies. Need to take lots of precautions, need to identify on the real-time basis. Check your bandwidth, check the permissions of the apps, check really it is required or not, correlate the things. Check your bandwidth, right? At least on the backend we can do this. Today, I'm not saying everything is 100% secure, but yes, at least the mitigation policies are required for each and everything. For social media, find the mitigation policies. For net banking, find the mitigation policies. Secure policies. Today, if you have one saving account, better you carry 2 saving accounts. One where you have the real savings, and other saving account which is connected to your Ola cab, Swiggy, or whatever, wherever you have make some online payments or your bill payments and all. So we are not only stop using it, we have to use it. Similar like in COVID-19, we have to work, we have to come across, but obviously with lots of precautions and countermeasures. So on this ground, I would say in cyber world also we have to take precautions, and on that basis, lots of things has to be discussed and to be controlled and to be mitigated. Things are ongoing. It's like real-time process. Every day you will get something new in media or from such kind of webinars and seminars. I really appreciate the entire effort given by Bharti Vidyapit team and other eminent people who are sharing the dais online and this virtual dais. I would say thank you so much for giving me the privilege and to be a part of wonderful audience. Over to you, Dr. Ritika, and in case if they have any queries, please share share the queries in front of us. I'm just through with that. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Sir, please, back to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Over to you, ma'am.
It was an informative session. It was an informative session, which I'm sure has enlightened participants about cyber citizenship. There are numerous questions by the participants, so I'll be taking up them quickly. Let us see in the paucity of time that we have, how many can we take up. The first question is by a participant. Is India too late on acquiring a defense system in cybercrime?
I'll not say too late. I think I already given the Indian facts, because that was a very much collective facts from since 2004 onwards. In India, we got IT Act in 2000, and then the activities was started somewhere in the from the year of 2004. So today we are in 2020 and we achieved a lot, because right now I think we are still mitigated with, and we are connected with all the means earlier we will say we are very far away from the security or other things, but I think today it is not like this. India is again equally participating, equally interacting and updating the skills, because you know India have one of the good concept called jugaads, and once we have given you the flame, I think you know how to secure yourself and how you will start working on that. So that is what like the initiative being done by all the young entrepreneurs, all the organization, even school students or college students who are participating and creating new projects related to cyber defense and other security measures or hacking measures. And these kind of webinars are also one of the part where India is already promoting and giving the information and sharing the experience from different eminent speakers and different activities. So already I'm saying I think India is not back, but yes, we are participating equally. However, the percentage might be varying, but yes, we are equally participating.
Thank you, sir. What is the difference between black hat, white hat, and gray hat hackers?
Okay. Say hacker word comes from US. You know, in India, we have a roadside car mechanics. I hope you have seen bike mechanics, car mechanics. They might never went to school, but I think they are the best engineers. Means if they listen the voice of your car, they'll say these are the type of faults. You please go and identify and remove the particular part or that particular device, and simply they'll troubleshoot and answer your queries. US is more like Silicon Valley. This software industry is actually in somewhere in US. So the people who are not actually, even if you see most of the entrepreneurs, I don't know why, but this is one of the another fact. Bill Gates was also a university dropout. Steve Jobs were also one of the dropout. So all these such eminent personalities, even from US, earlier they were actually a hacker while they were in the university or in their school side, and they were more exploring the software industries and all that stuff. I would say that they are called mysteries. Like if I'll compare with that, so hackers are like mysteries. Now you want to apply a white hat to them, gray hats to them, or black hats. That depends on their behaviors and the activities being performed by them. According to the law, there is nothing called white hat, black hat or so. According to the law, the concept is very clear. Hack means hack. And in case if anyone is accused and then he is accused, they have to answer to all the investigating officers, and they have to produce the evidence whether it is being done intentionally, unintentionally, or they were involved or not involved. But the concern is white hat is more like, so hat is a hacker. Hey guys, so US, they have a very harsh English or some other level of English. So this hacker word is also originated from US, and they used to say white hat hacker means the people who are more into the defensive side. Black hats are more into the cyber terrorism. They are more into destructive sides. Gray hat people, I think the percentage of the gray hat people are more, because they are the people who are really doing any technical activity based on their benefits, whether it could be related to name, fame, money or so. Whether it is offensive or defensive hardly matters. They'll do it for that and they'll get the benefits. So, or even there are many suicide hackers, red hat hackers, and many colors are nowadays being introduced on Google, if you'll say. So it is not the matter of color, but that is the way how we are introducing with the color about their behavior. So that is only the way, but actually the concept is, are you aware of? Are you a technocrat or not? Are you a mystery? And once you become a mystery, and then later you will become a one of the engineer if you get the academic degrees and all. Right. So then you become a. So again, they all are working. They all have great experience. Only the part is how they present themselves. Yeah.
So the
Next.
next question we have. Why we don't have our own Indian private server? Why we use Singapore IBM server and many more in China and USA? So why we use data bags of other country, and why don't we have a good cyber-proof team like USA and other countries? 90% mind is Indian in the USA cyber scene.
So this is the irony of India, that all Indians have a great knowledge, great potential, but we all are looking for, say, the benefits, and they are not getting actually the benefit, or they are not reimbursed in India. So the moment they'll move to other countries, they'll be reimbursed like anything, and they become rich, and they'll get all the amenities, whatever they are looking for. But otherwise, actually, Indians have a great brains. Indians, ये इस मिट्टी में हमारे बहुत कुछ है जी. ये मिट्टी में इतना कुछ मिला है that anytime, any fine day, any solution won't work. I think Indian brain will give you some jogad, and that jogad will act like a brahmastra. So this is what, like, the way it is working, and it is how the results are coming up. I'm not saying like India is far off. I'm not saying like, yes, that is true, because nobody worried about the data and all that stuff. Now the flame comes to India, and already initiative being done. That's what, like, in India, this personal data protection bill has been introduced, and there is a clause in that bill that the data of all Indian government or Indian citizen or Indian information should be placed in India itself. That's why even, you know, this WebEx, Cisco WebEx, if you want, means that's one of the way how we can identify. Or even Amazon. Amazon is a US company. Now they deployed their data centers in India, Mumbai. So today, all such data centers, all such organization where the bandwidth and other things were there in those countries. So they need a more space, more a similar platform. So things were there in other countries. And now the rules are coming in different direction, that everything has to be there in that country itself, and should not be get disclosed to other countries unless and until there is a consent of that user, right, written consent of that user, that my data is explorable and you can access it. So obviously it will take time. It's a big model. It's a big process. In digital world, there is no security. Today, even at the time you prepare your email ID, did you ever place any KYC? So still in India, like in banking, we have 3D technology where at least you have one security check extra, that is your OTP, which comes to your mobile. But it is not even in US. But still, because they have good bandwidth, they have good infrastructure, our data is there, and very much faster to access and all that stuff. However, now it's changing. We already are talking about 5G technology, and very soon it get introduced. I think everything would be there in India itself. Please,
So the
next, over to you. Yeah.
How general public will be safe when their Aadhaar numbers are shared at so many places, public as well as government?
This is one of the another issue being raised. See, frankly speaking, practically, luckily today, Aadhaar, one of the top IT director in UIDAI, luckily that was one of the lady was there, and she was my student also. We also personally discussed the same thing, and I asked them like, what is this all about? So actually the real fact is Aadhaar data never had, but the application used on the end user side, where the permission grant to even a cyber cafe wala on the basis of small checks, where they can able to create the Aadhaar card because of the high level of population and high level of massive information need to be placed in that data. So the privilege is being given to the end users on the local side, and that is the time that data get compromised from those machines. Server were never ever being hacked. Information is secured enough. However, the versions and upgradation was still going on with Aadhaar data as well. Even though, think practically, just the day this GeoSIM was introduced, and they said we'll give you everything free for 1 year. Everybody knows, even at the 2 a.m. midnight, people were standing outside those private shops and they were waiting to get opened in the morning and they'll get one SIM. And that SIM is only based on what? Thumbprint. And that is your Aadhaar data. So it means we ourselves share the entire Aadhaar database. Don't you think so with the Reliance? Don't you think so? Now, Reliance already have the duplicate Aadhaar server with them because they shared and they serve the SIM free of cost to all the users. And we happily share our information officially authentic with all the rights given to Reliance that they can access my private information. So there are many ways wherever the users are interacting, the third-party apps or APIs might be get compromised, and due to that, some data might be available online. But the Aadhaar server was not ever being compromised. However, now the further policy is being generated, and now again that has been mitigated.
Sir, next question: how to identify fake websites?
Ma'am, I would say, open your any browser, go to the URL, check the HTTPS certificate. So there is a padlock over there. Click to the padlock. Once they are on the padlock, they'll see the certificate validity. So there is a domain verification, there is an organization verification, or both. So especially the phishing sites. Phishings are again related to more with like banking side or any renowned organization sites and somewhere like. So today the way to mitigate this risk level, what we all need to do, we have to check the HTTPS with TLS certificate. Right now in India, the HTTPS TLS certificate version 1.2 is active, where already 1.3 version has already been introduced. So might be in the next, whenever we are going to renew our HTTPS certificate, that comes with HTTPS. And the most important part, that HTTPS certificate was introduced and authorized by certifying authority. So there are CAs, certifying authority, who identify the domains and identify the organization, and they issue those certificates only to them. So today you will get any link. Don't click to the link. Find the relevant domain name. And on that domain name, on the back end, you just go and check the HTTPS part. Even though nowadays there are certain plugins which are there in the latest browsers also. So anywhere where you will find the domain name, it will immediately cross-check, validate, and say this certificate is invalid. So you have to take a risk to open this website or not. Apart of that, there is a concept called anti-phishing. Content is there, and we can even report to anti-phishing sites that this is one of the phish site, and throughout the globe they'll block that DNS value or that IP addresses. So there are proper technical way to identify these things. Next, please.
Sir, what are the advantages of promoting ethical hacking in schools and colleges, and what are the available career options?
Now, already we are aware of security is the most important concern. Why hacking? Now, again, we are giving a training of hacking. Hacking doesn't mean that, again, offensive or defensive, but what we are talking about, we need ethics. So the cyber citizen responsibility has to be involved into that. And we are talking about at least with the due diligence, some basic policies need to be taught to all the students and all the users, even school going students, or even any senior citizen who are not even tech savvy, but at least they should be aware of the security part, and in case of any incident held with them, at least they can able to report, they can able to answer, they can able to identify the things what is going with them. So whether it is a spy activity or any regular activity, at least they should be aware of these basic things. So ethical hacking is most important part, already being initiated. UGC, CBSE, AICTE already generate the notification that ethical hacking has to be a part of the training for sure in all the educational bodies. So it is again even from the MHA side. A part of that, not only the training, but yes, training generally. Whenever we are talking about ethical hacking, I have seen most of the people goes for the hacking and making how to make attacks. They are learning because that is more fun oriented. However, that the limits has to be defined, that due diligence has to be there, and we should discuss that particular part, like in case if this incident occurred, then what are the security measures to be taken care at that there and then, or that how to handle that particular incident. That is the most important part of ethical hacking to be taught to everyone. Next, please.
Yes, sir. Why is it not permitted to use mobile banking?
See, there is no point to connect. Today, if I have administrative rights, rooted device means you have administrative rights. And I already discussed that in case if any third party app who have the privilege, like I have shown you Alipay, they were accessing a 41 permissions. And in case if they can also access the data of some other app or any storage of your data, then hardly matters, they can misuse your financial fraud, they can commit a financial fraud or any activity being performed on your mobile, and they'll make the transfer of the data by using your UPI or any debit credit card activity and transfer the funds from your entire account, the funds transfer to someone else. So why to give a root permission? Even in Windows, it is like generally said that Windows is most vulnerable operating system because the viruses were actually prepared for Windows only. However, even I'll say you need not to even deploy any antivirus on Windows. Only the part is the Windows must be genuine, first condition. Second, whatever the updates being given by the Microsoft, you should update those things. Third, never act like an administrator. Do all your internet activity with the restricted user, where the user do not have the permission to install any app, do not have the permission to access any particular sensitive data or any particular sensitive folders or so. It means like today, if you are accessing any website or any malware automatically comes or deployed in your computer, so that deployment should not be occurred there and then because you are not having the permission. Even you as a user do not have the permission. Then how the third party user will get the permission remotely? But at the same time, if you are acting like a root user or an administrative user in any operating system, then simply you are giving the rights to them and you become a zombies, and then the consequences might be borne by the user. So highly recommended, do not go for rooting of your devices. For experiment purpose, there is no point. Please go ahead. But for real-time data transmission, banking and all, that should be a separate part. Right. So it's better you carry two phones. Do R&D on a virtual phone where you have rooted, but do not do any banking transactions on those devices. Next, please. Sir.
It has been an excellent session. कभी-कभी मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि काश घड़ी हैक हो जाती और टाइम दिखाना बंद. लेकिन
I can understand, sir.
वक्त अपनी रफ्तार से बढ़ता रहता है और समय की सीमाएं रहती हैं, तो हमें अब यहाँ रोकना पड़ेगा क्योंकि बहुत सारे गेस्ट में बहुत सारे लोग जो अभी कनेक्टेड हैं उनके लिए आगे कुछ नए असाइनमेंट्स हैं, नए कमिटमेंट्स हैं, और ये तो ऐसा टॉपिक है और स्पीकर है कि मैं ये शाम रात भर चलाऊं तो भी शायद टॉपिक खत्म नहीं होगा और आप थकेंगे नहीं. तो थैंक यू सो मच डॉक्टर अनूप. I have a certificate here. Not that you need any certificate. The certificate is only for one purpose, that whenever you see this, you must remember and remember all these lovely audience, which including YouTube, close to 600 plus audience attended it from different parts of the country and abroad. So thank you so much. I have Professor Ajay Thakare here. He will be delivering and it is always listening to Dr. Anup every time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, over to you, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It was a kind of system interrupt that I interrupted all the question answer process of Dr. Ritika. I glanced through this chat window and I could see at least around 50 plus questions are still unanswered. We can't answer all those questions, right? We were trying to sensitize people, create good cyber citizens for our country. And I could even get a few feedback from the participant in the same chat window. Sir, this one session, one webinar on this topic is not sufficient. Please have one more. So let's see when number of next webinar comes on the same topic. So Dr. Ritika, over to you, please.
Yes, sir. I will now request Shri Ajay Thakre, Chairman, Technical Program and Publicity Committee, IETE, to kindly propose his votes of thanks. Over to you, Ajay sir.
Yes. Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today's guest speaker, Dr. Anup Girdhar sir, CEO at Satellite Solutions and Technologies, New Delhi. Dr. Huda sir, Director at Bharati Vidyapit, New Delhi. Dr. Vyas sir, President, CSI. Dr. Ritika ma'am, Webinar Coordinator. Dr. Subrato Mukhopadhyay, Chairman, Consultants Network Affinity Group. Um, our past chairman at Bangalore IIT Center, Dr. Bhatia ji, our old friend, and my dear esteemed participants. It is yet another great evening for all of us today. Perhaps I would say it is a cyberful evening because today's webinar, as Dr. Huda sir has rightly said, and many of the attendees have also mentioned that the spectrum covered is very, very extensive. I think, Dr. Anup Girdhar has each and every bite of cyber securities or cyber warfare, cyber citizenship, and whatnot, anything related to cyber. And perhaps I appreciate that today's guest speaker who has diligently covered the three big topics of cyber related to defense and then the data security with the role of a common man. And of course, um, uh, he has an exclusive command on this topic because we have already experienced in the past when we had him as one of the guest speakers for our midterm symposium. Dr. Anup sir, if you remember, you had really given a very commendable topic coverage on that day on 17th of May, I remember. Friends, we know that India is progressing promisingly developing countries, and it is one of the most vulnerable to such attacks in the cyber world. So, especially, in fact, as Dr. Anup sir has also mentioned about CERT, that is Computer Emergency Response Team of India, which has stated its latest advisory to the internet users that cyber criminals are exploiting the coronavirus pandemic outbreak as an opportunity to send phishing emails in the form of the important update or encouraging donations or even trying to impersonate the employees trustworthy organization. So it is one of the things which is really troubling us a lot. And I think perhaps in the coming years there would be extensive research and therefore overflooding of PhD topics in the allied region areas of cyber. And as rightly said by Anupam Girdhar sir that the earlier proverb of roti ab kapda or makan has changed and it is now internet kapda or makan. So the roti part has been really snatched away by the internet because uh, because of the extensive use of internet. ऐसा कुछ कह सकते हैं कि इस भीड़ भरी दुनिया में केवल खुद को ढूंढना है, इस भीड़ भरी दुनिया में केवल खुद को ढूंढना है, बाकी सब कुछ इंटरनेट पर है, बाकी सब कुछ इंटरनेट पर है. So it is something like that. On behalf of the IT and the chairman technical programs at IT New Delhi, I really thank Dr. Anup Girdhar sir for giving a very detailed, what should I say, these three topics. It was so difficult to cover, but on a fast track, he has covered it. My goodness, full 2 hours he has really dedicated his time without having a sip of water even. And even his energy level is very high at this moment also. And if we perhaps ask him to continue, he would really continue till the dinner time also. So really, thank you very much. I'm thankful once again to Bharati Vidyapit, especially Dr. Huda sir and the coordinator, the Kawasan madam, and the whole of the team at Bharati Vidyapit for arranging such a lovely webinar with such commendable guests who has really covered a very good topic on this. On behalf of everybody, I wish again all a very good night here and thank you. Thank you once again. Over to Ritika ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I take this opportunity once again to thank Anup Girdhar sir for the wonderful webinar, We look forward to continued association with you, sir. I also thank all our distinguished panelists and participants who have continuously supported us through all our webinars. A big thank you to all of you who have joined us on this auspicious day.